Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. You know, I got a request from one of our subscribers, and they just wanted me to address something, and that's in regards to biased boxing ego. That's right, boxing ego, who's completely biased, who's just not an honest and genuine person when it comes to the sport of boxing, and who pretty much spreads all this garbage and filth out to everyone, especially a lot of casual boxing fans who are new to boxing and they don't understand boxing. And he spread all these lies because he's a PBC fanboy. And that's exactly what boxing ego is. Let's just break it down. Let's start with boxing ego doing countless videos bashing DAZN, stating that they need, big fights. Showtime is killing it. And will DAZN even survive? So you're talking about, will DAZN survive? But they have the two biggest stars in world boxing, such as Anthony Joshua and Saul Canelo Alvarez. But you're talking about, will DAZN survive? That makes no sense to me. When you have the two biggest stars, wouldn't that lead to a huge platform? But let's keep going. This also further proves that boxing ego is a PBC fanboy. Is that when, they had the Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ruiz, he still said that's a very good fight. He said that's a very good fight. But when DAZN has any type of fights, he does not give them the credit. He made fun of Canelo and Rocky Fielding, although Canelo Alvarez was moving up in weight and Gervonta Davis was fighting a guy who was moving up in weight. So Canelo Alvarez is the big name, and he's going up in weight to challenge a bigger man for a title. But Gervonta Davis is having a small guy come up for just basically a bum bash. So you can say what you want about Rocky Fielding, but he was a world champion and he was a top 10 fighter. So you can make fun of this situation. You can act like it's a game or a joke, but at the end of the day, it was a respectable opponent for Canelo Alvarez to prepare him for Danny Jacobs. See, this is what I mean about him being biased and not honest about the situation and misleading casual fans. So basically, all the DAZN hate that he has, he's making all these ridiculous accusations about DAZN and saying Showtime's killing when Showtime hosts a ton of bum bash fights. But we just have to be honest and unbiased. Look at the Charlo brothers versus Matt Korobov and Tony Harrison. That was supposed to be a bum bash fight, but unfortunately the Charlo brothers was unable to get the victory, and yet he said that was a bad fight. He said that that's a very interesting cards, but then he turns around and criticizes Demetrius Andre versus Walter Condankwa. So the fact that you can criticize that, but you can applaud the Charlos. And then even when the Charlo brothers lost, boxing ego was nowhere to be found. Guys that he's hyped up and stated that, Canelo Alvarez may have been ducking, he didn't come out and make a response about the Charlos and say anything about them when they were exposed. He said, I thought they were good fights. I had the Charlos winning. Of course, because he's not honest and he's very biased. That's why they call him biased boxing ego. And the biggest fanboy that ego does is for Deontay Wilder. Now, we all know that boxing ego is a PBC, fanboy, but we also have to be honest and unbiased when we look at boxing ego. He's done a recent video where he comes out in Eddie Hearn, and he makes a statement that Eddie Hearn says that Charlo needs to be on DAZN to get the Jacobs and Canelo fights. But he said AJ's Undisputed could happen on any network, and basically saying that Eddie Hearn is switching up. It's weird, insinuating that he's lying. But you have to look at the reasoning behind Eddie Hearn saying that. See, you got to understand the key thing here is the highest bidder, and he knows that it's going to be DAZN who offers the most money will get the fight. So basically him putting AJ in the open market and saying AJ and Deontay Wilder could fight and let Showtime, DAZN, and ESPN bid for the fight, and whoever's the highest bidder gets the fight. He knows DAZN is going to offer more money than ESPN and Showtime because he realizes that Showtime has a limited yearly budget and DAZN's budget is centered around boxing only, not TV shows. So the only true competition that they have in a bidding war would be ESPN. So let's be honest and unbiased about it. So Eddie Hearn knows that DAZN will win that bidding war. Eddie Hearn knows that even if it went to ESPN, it would probably have more eyes than it would anywhere else because it's such a major platform. So Eddie Hearn understands the business side of this and is willing to work with other promoters. But the funny thing about all this is boxing bias ego loves to mislead people, loves to pump up and promote the PBC and their fighters in this biased boxing narrative. But once again, exposing them as like we always do is the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.